out in the shop. Today's video is going to be on how to remove and reinstall a tire. As always, before jacking up a car, make sure it's on level ground. You have wheel chucks behind the wheels that stay on the ground. And once you jack up the car, use a jack stand before working under or on the car while it's raised. The first step in removing a tire after you've secured the vehicle with wheel chucks and putting the emergency brake on, putting it in first gear or in park if it's an automatic, is loosening the lug nuts while the tire is still on the ground. You don't want to take them all the way off. You just want to loosen them so that when you raise the tire off of the ground, it's easy to turn the bolts and take them off. Now you can use this technique with a tire iron, with a T iron, or any variety of braking tools. But what I recommend is putting in your car either a breaker bar, such as this. It's a long, solid bar, and it has a lot of length to it. That's where you get your leverage, so it makes it easy for you to break those tight lug nuts. The other option, which I recommend even more, is this ratchet. This particular ratchet is telescoping, meaning it extends, and when it extends, it's even a little bit longer than the breaker bar. Yet and still, it has a shorter length for when you store it in your car, and it has a rubber end here for grip, and so it doesn't rattle around and scratch up your vehicle. I highly recommend these, and I put these in all my vehicles. Now, let's go loosen up the lug nuts. To remove the lug nuts, approach the tire from the left. Go to the left side here, the left side of the tire. That will allow you to push down and use your weight to break that lug nut instead of having to use your muscle to pull up. So put it on, make sure it's square, and just push down just like that to make sure that it's good and loose. Good, right? And then another turn, no more, another, push down and turn, and finally down and turn. Now we're ready to jack up the vehicle. Now we're going to jack up the car. If you don't know how to use a jack properly, see our other video, how to use a jack. Once you have the car jacked up, make sure you put a jack stand under the car and lower the car onto the jack stand before working on the tire. Now that the car is secured on a jack stand, we can just use the socket. We don't even need to use the ratchet or a breaker bar to finish taking off the lug nuts. Very easy to take off. Put them in a safe place so you don't lose them. Hold the tire and you take off the last lug nut so it doesn't fall. And then just remove the tire. Reinstallation is the reverse of installation. So start by putting the tire on the hub and installing the lug nuts by hand. Never install lug nuts with a tool. Always start them by hand. That way you won't strip the threads on your studs. Tighten the nuts up as much as you can by hand so that there's no space or slop. Once they're snugged up by hand, raise the vehicle up a little bit, remove the jack stand, lower the vehicle, and finish tightening the lug nuts with the breaker bar. Once the vehicle has been lowered back to the ground, use your tire iron, breaker bar, or ratchet to retighten the lug nuts. Go to the right side of the tire this time, and that will allow you to also push down to tighten the lug nuts, just like you were on the left, pushing down to loosen them. Tighten the lug nuts in a star or crisscross pattern so that you get a flush mating of the tire's rim to the hub. And that is how you change a tire.